welcome to Presence Practice with Poonam and Parker. Hello, Poonam. Today's topic is low-level seeking. I unwrapped this freshly yesterday, in the now yesterday. I unwrapped this. So I noticed that as things come up, doing one thing at a time is wonderful, and it's fairly easy to balance sitting in the stillness and doing one thing at a time, right? I notice there's more gentleness to what I'm doing. However, and this has happened maybe 3 or 4 times over the last 6 months, and I just got it yesterday. This is what happens. Challenges start to stack up. So it feels like it's a Friday. So today is Saturday. It was a Friday. Let's finish up so many tasks, and just with that impulse, I noticed that there's a secondary feeling of seeking to get things done. And so if something happens with one thing, okay, but let's say you work very hard all day long, as I did yesterday, and it was like 2 steps back by the time 3 o'clock rounded the corner. And I could feel just this anxiety. So it's like a sub-pattern to low-level anxiety. The impulse under that is just this low-level seeking to get things done, to accomplish things, when conceptually, on these days, I know conceptually, and I know it experientially as well, that when we're doing something, we're not creating an outcome, we're doing what we're doing. Now, there may be a goal over here that we'd like to head towards, but there's not attachment to completing the goal, which is attached to this low-level seeking. I want to say how beautifully liberating it is. It's like a flush of anxiety leaving when I'm able to clearly identify a pattern when I see it. So nothing better for us to be doing than that. And so I thought I would share my experience with low-level seeking, feeling the need to get something done right the first time, or doing it right, and then there's an upset and it needs to be done again. And the mind, why, look at this person taking more of my time than what was required. It really is insane, but it's liberating to see it. And so whatever is happening next, I'll have more of an awareness that as my days when my schedule is increased with activity, that I'm not getting too caught up in that activity, and then it triggers a pattern in me that wants to complete tasks and to get them done perfectly. So, are you familiar with this impulse, Poonam?
It happens a lot in the IT world, especially with project management, because you're trying to drive towards a goal, and a good project manager, they feel like the quote unquote stereotype of a good project manager is you can compress time and get things done faster than the other person. So there's a competition and there's a competitiveness about it. How fast can you go? But Murphy's Law applies in IT. when things need to go wrong, they will, right? But that's why this presence practice is so beautiful. That when things go wrong, you just accept and do the next thing. Like, okay, the racks didn't get installed or the service didn't get delivered, right? You're expecting that the racks are on the data center floor, but you call the data center person on the day of when consultants are going to arrive. You call the data center, and the data center person does an eyes and hands and says, "Oh, your racks are in storage. They're not even on the data center floor," right? And these are something where we drill holes into the data center floor to anchor them. So it's not something that, okay, within 5 seconds, you just take something and move it. There's actually almost a day's worth of work involved in it, right? To drill, get the person who can drill, who can bring power to the racks. So stuff happens. So one of the things that I have started doing is doing a 20-minute meditation in the middle of the day. Like if I get into this mind energy of task after task after task. So what I'll do is I'll eat at my desk, but for my lunch, I'll go sit on a couch, like reading, like we have reading type single chairs. So I'll go sit on that chair in the foyer or something and do a quick 20-minute meditation. And that seems to like change the whole
dynamic. A lot of corporations now have quiet rooms or meditation rooms.
Yes.
I've even heard of some IT companies that have, I don't think they're calling them spiritual counselors, but spiritual counselors. So meditation coaches, I think they refer to them. So yeah, I love this idea. I like to come back every hour into stillness. And I noticed that I have some mind activity around, because it's not, this is the mind activity. It's not that it's happened one time. It's that it happens and then it keeps happening, and it's all these different things, and none of them are going right. And so I would be calm if it was one, but it's so many. So now I can make a problem of it because it's so clearly a problem. Very seductive chatter. And also, you know, it's such a mind-dominated environment when you're out in the world. Everybody's like a little busy ant bee. Yes, manifesting and creating on different levels of consciousness, doing this and doing that. And so it's sort of a new rhythm for me in many ways. And I hope to be liberated of any patterns that come up, you know, because it's a new set. There's always going to be a new set of challenges. It's not about eliminating. It's about saying yes to everything and not cause all this resistance to the flow. So I think that's a good place to stop. Thank you for sharing I can see how challenging that would be when you have all these moving parts, and if one goes out of whack, it's one way, but what happens when 5 things are out of whack at once on one project? Oh, Poonam, that would be a challenge for me to really embrace. I would, you'll have to share with me your wisdom around these things, other than your 20 minutes, which sounds brilliant, instead of 5 minutes every hour.
Exactly, because we don't get a break in our workday, right? They can be a meeting after a meeting, sometimes the morning, because you have a global company, you're sharing time with India. So you have, like, people have meeting after meeting, it's very compressed, the morning. So the first break you're going to get is at your lunchtime, if you get a break at lunchtime, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you have to do what you can do. But thank you so much for sharing that. I mean, I think all of us have that pattern. It's just that as we work towards it, then we
yes,
begin to dissolve it slowly, right?
yes, yes. Hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.